Hello everyone, my name is Andy Stevens. I am a change and project consultant who works mainly in the charity industry. Today, this short video is around the change curve. And what I'm going to talk about is background to the change curve, explain what it is, and then about how I use that in practice. So firstly, what's the background to the theory of the change curve? So it's derived from some work that Elisabeth Kubler-Ross did back in the 1960s, and it describes the emotional journey that people typically experience when dealing with change. And much of the theory behind it is based on grief and bereavement. So for any of you that have done psychology, you might recognize some of the stages and terminology from that. So what is it? There's a number of versions. This is one of the more typical ones out there. So you'll see along the left-hand axis there's morale, energy, and performance, which peaks initially after the change is announced, but then drops quite dramatically and then increases. And that's over time. And then there's a number of stages that people work through. So going through shock when they first hear, then some denial, and moving towards anger, bargaining, and confusion as they dip at the bottom, and then as they start to go up again on the morale, energy, and performance, go through stages of acceptance and problem solving. So why is this useful in practice? Now, everyone is different. Not everyone will go through the stages, but that it does seem to be a pattern that a lot of people follow these general stages along the change curve. So it can be quite useful as a change manager to be aware of them and where people might be at. And it can help you lead that change and also explain why you might get resistance to change at certain points or from certain individuals. Now, one thing I have observed, everyone varies how fast they go through that change curve. There's been some presentations where I've announced the change and I've seen people go through the kind of shock right through to the acceptance and problem solving during that presentation. You can see that in people's faces and body languages. Other people with the same change, they might take 12 months to go through all those stages, or they might never reach those end stages. So it's very much recognizing this is an individual basis. You need to look at the change curve, not at an organizational. So the challenge for you as change managers is to help bring people through their curve and support them with what's appropriate at each stage. So if we go back to the curve, if people, for example, are in stages around shock, denial, and anger, 1 to 3, overload them with lots of information of the reasons for the change and the detail of the change, they're not going to be receptive. They're not going to absorb it at that point in time. It's much better to spend time on giving them a very brief overview and then listening to their initial reaction. That also might have the benefit, it might give you some feedback around the change you're delivering and actually help you refine your process anyway. So it has another gain, but really giving them lots of information, making lots of cases for the change, they're not going to absorb at that point. So that's not the best thing. That's much better when people are moving towards the confusion and acceptance stages to give them a lot more detail and the cases around the change. The other thing to helping people through the change curve is to involve them and help them shape the change. So the evidence suggests the more that you include people within the change, then the faster that they go through the curve. And again, that has the additional benefit that usually the more you involve people and the more feedback you get, you can learn and improve on the change you're delivering as well. So there's an added bonus from doing that at the same time. Okay, that's my quick summary of the change curve. Do let me know if you have any questions, and you can look at my other blogs on andyconsultancy.com. Thank you.